Anand Agarwal joining us now, Group CEO at Sterlite Technologies. Anand, good to have you with us. Seems like it's been a challenging quarter this time around. What were some of the primary pain points, and how long do you really see this continuing? Do you see any kind of relief? What's it looking like?
Yeah, good morning. The Q1 was clearly a quarter where we got impacted by lockdowns at a global level. So a lot of our operations got impacted. So overall, the way it happened was for us, for the entire month of April, our operations were practically not running across the globe. And for the month of April and May, the projects that we do, the system integration projects, and they were not running. But since June, we have seen them coming back on track. So in the month of June, I would say a good part of the entire thing was coming back to normal. And Q2 should be largely normal, other than a few states where we are getting slightly impacted. But all our operations, all the manufacturing operations are back, in fact, better than pre-COVID levels. So.
Okay, so if we take a look at some individual factors then, global fiber prices have corrected. How do you plan to protect realizations there? Could you look at offering differentiated value-added services or products with less competition, better tech, and hence higher realizations?
Absolutely. So this we have been doing. So the fiber price correction happened like late 2018. And we have over the last 5 years did several things. We started moving a whole lot into entire end-to-end system integration projects. So that was one large move. Second was towards selling more products into finished cables. So that was the second one that we had done. Third was towards doing a lot of products which is value-added and the next generation products through the R&D and development. And fourth was the market shift. So a lot of our revenues, especially on the fiber business, almost more than 45 to 50% of the revenue actually comes from Europe and Middle East, where we are not seeing the price impact, which is largely structured in a closed market, which is China right now.
Most of the big telecom companies in India pretty much have done with their capex, and we don't know when 5G rollout will happen. I mean, it's a big question mark. Is there a correlation between telecom companies, the capex and the rollout they're doing, and your local demand?
Yes, Nikunj. So actually the capex is restarting. You're absolutely right. In 2019, most of the capex had taken sort of a slowdown. But in this year, we have seen an upsurge in capex from all the large telcos. So we're seeing large fiber to the home projects that is being deployed. We are seeing this linkage. As you know, that India, the backhaul linkage, the tower linkage is very poor. Less than 30% of towers in the country are connected by fiber. And we are seeing a large project right now in terms of connecting all these towers with optical fiber. And we are working with both the two large telcos in the country and with a good amount of order book from them. So in 2020, we have seen a clear resurgence of capex spending. And post this geo recapitalization with the funding coming in, there is a big appetite as well as a large desire to move into fiber to the home, fiber to the enterprise, fiber to the small cells, fiber to the Kirana store. It's getting for a very high degree of fiberization.
Why was there a collapse in your product prices 12 months ago? That shook the market, that shook your investors, that shook the stock. Why did it happen?
So at that point of time, essentially, all that collapse that happened was triggered within China. The large piece which happens is that there is one large tender which is given by China Mobile, which is of the order of almost between 20 to 25% of the global volume. So like global volumes are about 500 million kilometers, and China Mobile, one tender is between 100 to 120 million kilometers. So, and there what happens is essentially the local players bid anything, because for them it is almost like a digital 0-1 situation. Whoever qualifies for that tender gets their volumes booked for 1 year. And that becomes a large trigger. The same thing is happening in the current year also. But in the current year, the situation is slightly different because we are seeing demand increasing at a global level. Most of the Chinese manufacturers actually limited to the Chinese within China only. And so the overall market has clearly right now broken down. There is a China market which is under stress because of lack of them being able to go out, because of them having to participate in one large tender. And then we are seeing the markets outside China. And there we are seeing renewed build out happening. We are seeing a huge amount of capital inflow coming in from private equity builders, from private equity players, from governments, from cloud companies, as well as the telcos themselves, because everyone is clearly realizing that this shift towards digital is permanent, and the current networks are not designed to handle the kind of traffic as well as the quality of traffic which is happening. So we are seeing a major upsurge in the kind of participation, funnel, order book, etc., that we see from markets we are seeing it in India, we are seeing it in Middle East, we are seeing it in Europe, as well as other markets. So we believe this is a start of a 5 to 6 year build out cycle where the networks will have to be very structurally strengthened across the globe. And we are seeing that right now.
Currently there is a clear prioritization of local manufacturing. We may use the term Atmanirbhar Bharat in India. It is called America First by the Trump administration. Given that you export to China, and we know there is a rhetoric which is against Chinese manufacturing, you are exporting, like you mentioned, to Europe. Could you potentially see a challenge? Because if an Indian manufacturing company is trying to export to other pockets, China and Europe, could that invite tender challenges or crawlback taxes?
Sure. So we see this as actually a large opportunity because we are present in all these countries. We are not exporting to these countries. We have local presence. So China currently is less than 4% of our revenues, and that we cater from our local Chinese manufacturing. Europe, we have both one manufacturing facility out of Italy, as well as one data center system integration facility out of UK. Latin America, we have another facility. So for us, whichever markets we are present strongly in terms of our revenue profile, we are actually the local players there. So, and to that extent, we are actually fully qualified, even if there is a shift or a trend towards localization. In fact, for all the projects which have US first opportunity, there are a list of friendly countries from which qualify also as within that US interface, and both our UK and Italian operations get qualified within that. So we see that we actually, if there is a shift towards that nationalization in most of the geographies or location, it actually impacts us positively rather than negatively.
Right. Mr. Agarwal, so, just wanted to understand in terms of FY21 and FY22, on both revenue, margins, as well as the business mix and profitability, what kind of guidance can you actually give to us, the viewers, as well as your shareholders?
At a macro level, we just had our analyst day earlier this month, and we have guided that by FY23, we will be doubling our revenues. So we'll be going from 5,000 crores or revenues that we closed FY20. By 23, we'll be doubling, will be north of 10,000 crores. The other guidance that we provided was that our debt equity, which typically is close to level of 1, we will be making it half to closer to 0.5. And the third one was that our return on capital deployed, which we have maintained at north of 20% over the last 5 years, we'll continue to focus on that and do that. And we are working in accordance with that sort of structure, that sort of a roadmap that we are putting for ourselves. An additional outlook that we provided with our recent results last week was that H2 of the current year, which is FY21, will be better than H2 of the last year, FY20, considering no force majeure event. But FY21 clearly is going to be, or rather H2 would be better than that. And post this, we get back to our track of the growth to double our overall revenues. So that's the perspective. In terms of margins, margins for us, we have guided that it will lie within the range of 18% to 20% EBITDAs, and the debt equity will go from 1 to 0.5.
Okay, Anand, good to have you on the show, and so candidly chatting with us about everything from your financials to the China impact and what have you. Good speaking with you and good having you on the show today.
Sure.